So,
All right.
hello again. I'm Nushin Nikfarjam, psychoneurologist, and I'm here with my dear friend Shahin Jedian, author of how many books by now? More than 42 or still?
We're right about 42.
Yeah.
Well, I just did release, that's a good question. I just came up with a Secret Society book. I haven't released it to much people. It's called the Great Reset for Healers. So,
Wow.
yeah, and it's a 300-page life manual with many videos and trainings. But you just made me remember that. I wasn't going to announce it, but since you talked about the numbers, so I'm excited about that. That's one of my exciting things, and
Thank you. But actually, I'm glad I asked that without knowing because
yeah,
you are so much full of knowledge
thank
and,
you.
and such an amazing person that I have met throughout my life that I feel extremely blessed. And having these sessions with each other on Zoom every month is just something that I keep looking forward to.
Oh,
So we can add some more knowledge to other people's lives. And today, this is going to actually be very related to your new book.
oh,
You're gonna talk about what are the signs that you're intended for the world of healing and becoming a guiding beacon, guiding light or beacon of light for others.
okay.
So, I mean, you're going to talk about this, and I'm looking forward to seeing your new book.
Okay,
Really,
sounds good.
yeah.
Sounds great. Okay, exciting.
Right.
That's a good topic. Like it's just coming to us, so it's nice to roll with it. Like what are the signs? Like how do you know if you're intended for stepping into the world of coaching, healing, psychology, human potential, developing your skills, not just for yourself. I mean, all of us should be working on personal development because without that, you're just not going to be happy, if you don't get to know yourself and work on your own core elements. But we're talking about how do you know that it's time or you're meant to develop yourself enough to expand yourself enough to step into the world of being a beacon of light to a community of people, right? Or to even several people, even if a cozy group, uh, or a mentorship, or a pastor, a rabbi, a psychologist, uh, a doula, a midwife, right? All of these people are involved with deep, serious healing that is non-traditional, well, psychologist is somewhat traditional, but even psychology really, I mean, steps out, really, if you really think about it, most psychologists at some point step out of the bounds of those limitations of psychology, and they're like, there must be something outside this box, right? So really, how do you know you're intended, right, for this? How do you know you're born for this? How do you know if you're just supposed to be this person that's just working on themselves and go to your 9 to 5 or develop your own business versus no, maybe I need to slowly start working on expanding my energies and helping other people and getting trained maybe so that I could do it more professionally. All of that, right? How do you know, right?
That's
And
interesting. You just said it, something come to my mind.
yeah, please share.
Like, um, it's loving others as much as you love yourself, and you want to really help them to be better in life and to heal in whatever area of their lives it is. I mean, that came to my mind right now, and it was so powerful. That's why I just like, oh, you really have to be able to love others as much as you love yourself, especially if you're doing self-development and all that. And
Yes,
sharing what you have learned in life is very important to me. It's
yes,
very important. Why
yeah,
why keep it to yourself?
yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, you're right. It's like
You
because
know what?
the been enlightened from within or taking care of yourself to a point where you're not just working on yourself because you're struggling so much that you have to work on yourself, otherwise you can't make it through the day. Okay, that's a different story because you
Sure.
may not have necessarily the energy to also help other people. That could bring you down, right? If you're at a point where you're like doing all this personal development and healing just so you can make it through the day, right? Just so you can get over your 10 addictions, just so you can get up in the morning out of your depression to go to work, right? That's a different story. You're really working on yourself because you need it, right? And we all start off somewhere like that. We all have struggles in our lives, and I've had my own personal struggles. But then there's a stage, there's a point where you do enough personal development where you're like, I'm feeling like there's so much I want to share with the world, and I'm being shut down, right? Because I don't know either how to, I don't have the venue, I don't have like-minded people in my life. I don't want to do the traditional route of just going to become a psychologist, right? I don't want to do that route. I want some other options, alternative options, or I want both. I want to merge them, but I don't see the options. Or or I see many options, but I don't see them as qualified, right? Or I see many teachers, but they're all teaching a little bit of something, but they're not integrated, right? So, if you feel all of these things, that means you're definitely in this zone of the discovery period of your life that you may have a knack and a space inside your soul for stepping into the world of healing, coaching, and maybe even creating your own brand that is unique specifically to your soul. That takes some time, obviously. First, you got to master some elements, some basic modalities, work with lots of people to get a good feel for it. But you could be meant for that eventually, also, right?
Yeah.
So those the signs, I'll tell you a personal story, and then I'll talk about what I've seen amongst like thousands of people that I've trained to become step into the healing zone of what they have. But first, I'll start with the personal story. When I was about 18 years old, I started to get these signs, like these feelings, these emotions. And the emotions came with a sense of emptiness. And it wasn't the kind of emptiness where you're just depressed. It was the kind of emptiness where you feel like there's so much more to you, but you're not even close. There's so much more you can expand with, but the environment you're in is not really conducive to that. You need to step into some space for that. There's so much more. Like I looked around, and of course, I had my own baggages and personal issues and things to develop and healing and inner child and parent issues and all of that I definitely had. But when I looked around, I felt like this can't be the world that was promised. Like there's something much deeper than this. And another sign is, when you look around and you see this can't be it, and then you also look around and you're like, why is it that when I feel that way and I want to talk about it, I can't even talk about it? There's no one to tell it to, right? And there's like almost no, no environment to even express it, right? So these are all signs that you may be one of those people that are designed or destined for something amongst the healing and coaching and influential realm, and you might be suppressing it. Okay. So now if you're like in your late 20s or early 30s, it's still a great time to wake up into this, even in your 40s. A lot of the people I meet are in their 40s when they wake up to this because at your 40s you start to really think about the world and philosophy and where do I come from and what's really happening and maybe I should think about my life, right? And then you also have some confused people where they start to think that I have all these problems that I have to resolve. Maybe I could just escape to the path of healing and heal others so I could run away from myself, right? You have to watch out for that too, right? That's why I said at the beginning, you know, in order to be able to help others, you have to kind of have done a level of healing where you feel stable enough that, yes, of course, you're going to have up and downs every day and you're still doing personal development, you're doing all these things, but you're not going to get destroyed when you hear somebody else's story, like, and just be depressed for 400 years because of it, right? Because that means you have a lot of unresolved and, elements inside you and, shadows and elements to work out that other people are going to bring it out and just take you down, right? So, and sometimes when you work with a few people, if you're in that space, two people will take you down, a third one will say stay down, right? So so you're really there's these signs you kind of have to watch out for. Now, does inner healing ever end? No, because even if you become the greatest healer in the world, even if you become Moses, right, you still have to get up in the morning and do some personal development, work on yourself, prime yourself for your habits. I mean, the negative entities that are living around us with the energies and our own subconscious gorilla that can pop out any moment is pretty powerful, and it's not going anywhere because every day there's a new challenge that the creator gives us in order to test our abilities so we can powerfully overcome the obstacle course. So nothing is going anywhere. So even if you're the greatest healer in the world, you're still going to have challenges. The only difference is when you step into the healing world where you're going to be responsible more for other people and community of love and bringing this energy to other people. Now your challenge becomes more of how do I most effectively do this? How do I get the least affected by other people's problems? How do I set up my boundaries correctly? How do I learn the best techniques? How do I go to school or training or certification or licensing in a way that matches my soul? How do I, not tell the wrong things to the wrong people because now I'm in a very sacred industry, right? So all
And
of
by
those
the
things,
way, how do I protect myself
how do I protect myself? Yeah,
from others' energies? Because a lot of people are empaths and they can get absorb energies of the others and become sick. A lot of psychologists, they do not know how to protect themselves, so they start creating diseases. One of the most important, I mean, most common ones are thyroid cancer, because they are getting the information, the bad information, basically, the problems, the challenges of other people, and they are internalizing them without protecting themselves. So this is extremely important for healers to understand that they can heal, but they need to be protected themselves.
Yes,
So there are
very
techniques that we always teach everyone how to protect themselves. So sorry that I'm jumping in,
good
but
point. Yes,
this felt very
jump in
important
anytime you like. Gives me a room to breathe for a moment.
because I see a lot
Again,
of I see a lot of friends who are therapists, and they created diseases in their bodies because they were basically at service to others, but they weren't taking care of themselves.
that's
So
right.
it's extremely important to learn all these valuable
what
techniques.
what she's saying is very, very important. Like creating techniques. Now, before you create any of these techniques, first you got to learn some training how to even help other people. But then in the process of that training, the techniques must go tag along with it. Otherwise, you'll be done the first day. It's like going to war, but you don't have your what do you call that thing that you hold against so the bullet doesn't hit you, right? So the shield, right? You don't have the shield or the magen, as we call it in the ancient Hebrew language, right?
Yeah.
If you don't have a shield, then you're gonna get hit, or it's like driving a car with no brake. It doesn't matter even if it's a Ferrari, it goes as fast as 300 miles per hour, 500 miles per hour, it's useless because you don't have the brake, right? So the boundaries are there and it's really powerful. Interestingly, in the most ancient language, the word protection in the most first language of the world called magen, right? Magen means protection, but most people don't know the word magen actually comes from migan, from the Garden of Eden, right? Because when we were in the Garden of Eden, before we discovered the tree of knowledge, good and evil, before we discovered essentially doubt and anxiety, right? Which is a great thing to, work through, the seeds of uncertainty, right? Before we discovered that, and for those of you who are watching this video, maybe this month, we're right now that we're teaching this video, we're in the month of Pisces, full moon of Pisces. These teachings apply all time, but if you're watching it, especially in the next few days, it's a great time, the month of Pisces, to deal with seeds of uncertainty. And the word garden or gan or magen, protection, actually comes from the idea of protection, learning how to protect yourself from negative energies puts you right back into the Garden of Eden, right? Because the Garden of Eden was a protective energy where the negative entities didn't exist, right? Until you decided to exit it into the world of choice and anxiety. The moment we meet with choice, really, this is incredible. The moment we meet with choice, most of us are so happy. Oh, I have choice, I have options. right? But you're only happy because you have choice and options because you think you're going to choose one thing that's better than the other one, right? But what if you never had to choose at all? Everything was great, right? What if you never had to struggle with this over that? Because if you have to choose this over that, that means you are in the chaos world, and now you got to pick the least chaotic one that's the best for you. So really, the world we're living in right now, the tree of knowledge, good and evil type of world, right? We're actually living in a world of constantly chaos, a little bit of fulfillment, constantly chaos. And many times the chaos takes away the little fulfillment that you have, right? So now you're back and forth, back and forth. What we want to do, if you want to step into the healing world, right? If you feel like you're destined for this and you want to step into the healing world, you got to discover your core values and start living there, right? Until the point that it becomes second nature, where you're stepping down sometimes, but your core values are so clear that choices don't take so much time. It's more instantaneous because you know your core values, because this is how it works. Values are up here. It's like the trunk of the tree. Let's say down here, trunk of the tree. Then the tree itself are, what leads eventually to the branches of beliefs. And then from beliefs comes attitudes, and from attitudes come action steps. So if you shift one value inside yourself, you've immediately changed thousands of core beliefs, uprooted them, not even changed. You change the context. It's like if you move a whole filing system to a different room, you don't even have to now deal with those files anymore, right? But if you go through file one by one to move them from one room to another, that's 1,000 files. That could take a long time. So it's much easier to heal the context than the content, okay? But most people are caught up with little contexts. Oh, today I'm going to deal with when I was 4 years old and my mother said this. That's what set me off in this route. And now it's because of you, and that's where I'm stuck. And now I'm going to deal with that. I'll deal with that. I'll take 5 years for that one, right? I'll stay in my victim consciousness for 5 years and see a therapist spend an hour and a half for 5 years and repeat the same story. And at the end of it, be really angry and walk out. And while I'm in that trance of being inside that anger, bump into someone in the hallway that just says, hey, watch where you're going. And there's a criticism. I'm right back to step one because I never even closed myself or protect myself while I opened up, right? Repeat that for 5 years. And maybe, you're making somebody else richer, but are you really healing, right? Because I've done this myself. There was a period of my time when I went to just, regular therapy where it didn't involve any other type of healing. I would just repeat the same thing for a year, right? And that person was happy to hear it and revalidate me at the end, and I would just walk home. And after like 6 months, I realized I wrote some things down and I realized I say the same thing for the past 6 months. Like not even maybe one or two words, the words changed. I said it slightly better because maybe I heard the terminology that person was using, but the feeling was not much different. It was just during the week, more frustration was adding up. I was just emptying it out over there and then collecting more because I wasn't changing context. I was just changing content, information and emotions and just coming and going, thinking that I'm changing. But I was changing very little. I can't say I didn't change at all. I was gaining awareness, but it was a very slight little change. So again, back to the original question, what are the signs, right? How do you know, right? What's that? How do you know? What do we do with this? Well, we said, there's a sense. There's a sense of I have so much offer the world. There's a sense of now, I should add this. It could be also that you're nowhere near being a healer or a therapist or some kind of practitioner to help others, but it could be you're really destined for it, right? The wisdom here comes in where you say, if you really feel that inside, I'm destined for it, but I'm going to spend the next 2 years and totally spend time on self-healing. If you have that much wisdom to do the core healing and really work on yourself, that's wisdom too, because you realize at least where you are. You're like, I see myself. I have a vision of me. I know I got to be there, but I got to deal with all this chaos first. Bring it up to a level of where I feel 70% okay. Nobody gets to 100% because that you would have to just leave this world after that. There's always expansion. But if you feel at least, 60, 70% at the core, you're feeling good, you've dealt with your stories, You've dealt with your recreating your stories of how you see yourself, your childhood. You're not constantly reverting back to wanting to kill your mom and dad. If you come to a sense of enough peace that for most days you can deal with yourself and love yourself, now maybe your next step could be, if you're meant for this, to step into this training, okay, to step into this next level, okay? Now, um, you don't have to worry about where to step in, because we can give you many ideas of how to take your next step, but at least you got to know when and what you need to do, okay? Now, me personally, I have a program. I have a intertwined program. I have two programs. One is called Soul Code Discovery. It's where you explore yourself and you receive healing, okay, from the healing center that we have, which is virtual and online available for those who want to become part of a long-term healing program. This program includes levels of therapy, listening skills, energy healing, distant healing, coaching, neuro-linguistic repatterning of your steps, um, understanding the cosmic energy of the world, the days of the week, the energy of the zodiac, Kabbalistic understanding of the tree of life, tapping into your life's purpose. It's just personal. This is not for you if you want to become a practitioner. It's like, even if you want to become a practitioner, but you realize first you got to work on yourself, this program could be for you. Now, I have another program which go hand in hand with this Soul Code program, which is called the Quantum Active Healer, which is about someone who's hit the edge of thinking, I might have a potential possibility of being one of those people that's intended for this. And in that program, we meet with you and do several evaluations to see if you're really, really like ready for this. And then we introduce you after those evaluations to the program, where it's a 16-month program, the first phase, where you really learn how to step into the healing industry. We introduce you to the training, the modalities, the pathways, the expos, and it's a really combined program. It includes video productions, exposing yourself, visibility, getting rid of your shame, putting yourself out there, allowing others to criticize you and go beyond it when it comes to being seen, making mistakes, starting over, discussing it in the group, all of that, plus receiving healing at the end so that you don't get a burnout, and learning the protection energies, right? That Dr. Nushin just talked about. So there's a lot that you can do, and you're in a good, safe space to discuss that with us if this is something that you feel is your calling. And you don't have to make a decision on your own if this is your calling. You can discuss it and kind of go through with it and see if you're cut out for this, right? Because this is a difficult field, right? Because in terms of deciding, because it's not like the medical world where you're like, all right, well, I'll just be a doctor. My father said it's good. My mom likes it. It gives me a feeling of prestige. No, this one doesn't have that much structure. And the structure that it has, I happen to think I'm one of the few people in the world that's created a training that has this amount of structure, right? Because I find people to be so lost when they discover that they're on the path of healing, that they're intended to become healers. They're just like, well, where do I go? What if I don't want to go just study psychology? What if I might have a different format? What if I'm a seer? What if I'm a psychic? What if I have mediumship qualities? What if I'm a Kabbalist? What if it came in my lineage? What if I'm a Kohen and I've been priestess or priest for 4,000 years since Moses? Uh, what if I got lost somewhere in religion, but I know it's much deeper than that, and I want to tap into my spirit. So not everything is cut out for college, and for university, right? There's alternative paths, especially nowadays. So what do you do with yourself? Well, I've designed this program for you to spend a little time, get to know yourself and evaluate yourself, and to see which path you need to take. And sometimes the path is it's not for you, right? But sometimes the path is you need some preparation, and it is for you in the long run. Sometimes you need some preparation, after your self-healing, it is for you in the short run, right? And sometimes it could be a path that you may practice for some time and then step back into where you were, but you got to experience what that's like if you were to step into it and see if it is for you. Sometimes it's experiential, there's no other way, So all of that brings me to the idea of who are you, what are you, which direction are you heading, and what is your life's purpose, right? I mean, really, ultimately comes down from your life's meaning. Are you, what is your life's purpose? Are you like cut out to be that person with that kind of life's meaning, really, ultimately.
Can I
So when you
ask you
discover
a
your,
question?
yeah,
Sorry. Do you have a
questions are great.
questionnaire? Do you have a questionnaire or something that you can ask that they can have in order to understand if they are on the right path, or you interview them? How does this go?
Great, that's good. So what we do is we set up a time. We have a specific time in our program on the Zoom call amongst with several other healers, and we invite them and have a collaborative conversation. Okay, and through that conversation, we help them come up with what's really inside them. So it's because it's very intuitive. A questionnaire could be tricky. It could definitely, a questionnaire can also be very helpful. And there's other questionnaires out there too. But we found that it's like a real uh, human connection process that involves like a real intuitive sit down eye to eye kind of next to each other. So we have like a cozy group of people where we invite them to that specific meeting and we get to know them really. We give each other a chance really to discover. And it's not like I'm discovering you, we're discovering each other. We're co-creating together. And I think that's what makes it so beautiful because it's not judgmental, it's not analytical, it's not a quiz, because we're not going to university here. When it comes to, that was a great question. That was a great thing you just brought up. When it comes to healing and that deep core element, it's not intellectual and it's not a test that you take just to get into the bar exam, right? It's really a core experience. So therefore it deserves a core experiential, connection with people. So that was great. Thank you for bringing that up. Um, so, um, because of time and we want to keep these sessions to about what, maybe 30, 40 minutes. We've lost count of that a long time ago, but I would say I'll say 2 more minutes of stuff and then I'll do like a 2 minute meditation just to get people started for those who want to get into this. So, what I'd like to say is if you feel that you do have, some form of connection to this, this is something that you do have some form of connection to. First of all, you can directly message our Soul Code Center, and we can give you some next level heads up, um, free introductory connection so you could get to feel yourself a little more and have a more personal connection. Okay, if you want to do that, you can either send an email to soulcodedoctor@gmail.com. You could do that. So it's soul code, CODEDOCTOR @gmail.com. My website is also soulcodedoctor.com. The website is with a DR, not fully spelled out, but the email is fully spelled out. Either one will still go there, but it's just easier to know that. You can also send a text or call us directly at 424. Okay, let me just, I still don't know the number by heart, so I got to read it. 424 430-5669. Okay, 424-430-5669. And you could send a text. Let me know you listen to this show and you feel that you have an inkling of an interest towards this, and this may be your path. And I'll walk you through. We'll have someone walk you through the next steps and invite you to a connection event so that we could see what we could do with that. Okay. Now, in the next few minutes, what I'll do is I'll do a guided meditation where this could be a closed eye guided meditation for you. And all you're doing in this guided meditation is just creating a quiet space to discover more about yourself. Okay. So go ahead and just close your eyes and take several deep breaths. At this point, you can take any type of breath that's comfortable for you. You can inhale through your nose, exhale twice as long. That's the easiest way to remember it. If you feel like inhaling and exhaling both through your nose, you could do it that way too. You could visualize wonderful purple light coming through the top of your head, through your crown, down through your body, through your toes, and just wiggle your toes to put yourself in touch with your whole body as you do that. And recall a time when you felt that you're touching your purpose, a time where you did something that felt so good that you said to yourself that I wish I could do more of this, but is it possible? A time when you said, I want to spend more of my energies in this, but is it possible? Or how come others are not like that? Or how come others don't have a structure for me to walk into? Recall a time like that and see if that time has been an experience of yours. If it's an experience of yours, then stay in it and go into it. And if it's not an experience of yours, then I will give you one more lead to think about. Recall a time when you watched other healers teach and speakers speak, and you looked at the eyes of the audience and those people getting affected, and you said, I wish I could be the person who makes them feel so inspired. I wish I could be the person who can see the smiles on other people's shift and transformation and get the pleasure of seeing them transform. I love that feeling. If you see yourself in those areas and you feel that you've been working on your personal development for quite some time and that you've stepped into a game or a space in life where you have so much more now to share and give and touch other people's lives, but you feel somewhat blocked from being able to do it, then this could be the step that will help you evaluate if you're meant for this. And this could be possibly a training that could help you get there, depending on when we meet and how everything flows in our connection and for you and for us as we co-create this. So all of that is a space that you want to tap into. And for those of you who text me or email me at that soulcodedoctor@gmail.com, I will go ahead and also send you a special guided meditation recording for discovering your life's purpose called Recreate Your Destiny, which I think I could say I spent at least 9 years creating that guided meditation. Many, many years of putting it together because I was working on feeling it and experiencing it as I do it. It's a 40-minute guided meditation. We usually sell it on our website for $200. But anyone that texts me from this call, I will go ahead and send that to you as a gift so you could listen to it. It will definitely help you tap more into your purpose and your calling and who you are. So that's for today. I'm ready to complete today's session with that. Once again, my name is author Shahin Jedian, and I'm grateful to be in your presence and help yourself discover your next level.
Thank you so much, Shahin. That was
God bless you,
wonderful.
and thank you for being here too. All right.